Okay, well, welcome everyone. I'm Andrew Stuck from Walk, Listen, Create. We're one of the partners in this European project called Walking Arts and Local Communities. It's funded by Create Europe, and so this is a sort of big thank you and acknowledgement to them. The plan, of course, was with the Walk project that we were always going to spread the network as more widely. And what we were going to do were invite nodes in other different regions of Europe to join the network. And so we're very pleased and delighted that WAP came and joined us. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to Anna Viola Hallberg and Janice Jensen, who are co-curators of WAP26.
So yeah, we are right now in Stockholm, and we have been on the island since last Thursday. And yeah, we have been traveling a lot, so we're all full of everything we have done and what we have experienced, but we want to give you an insight on that. And we are also currently in our small exhibition we made. So every one of us had made an artwork during the time, but also there's other artworks from the last years of walking as practice. So we will talk about that a bit. But now at the beginning, Anna Viola will tell us what is walking as practice, how it developed, and what is the walking as practice collective or cohort.
Very dangerous chair. Let's see. It might be a little bit confusing because we have WAP, and it's a program, but it's also a cohort or a collective. It was founded on, come on in. It was founded when I was running a residency, an art residency in the northern Stockholm Archipelago. And all of a sudden I found myself greeting all artists by taking an introductory walk to how to behave in the forest and how to behave with the locals and all that. And then it's like when you meet people and sometimes you just feel that you want to prolong the connection with them. We formed WAPC, and C could be collective, it could be cohort, it could be anything that starts with a C. But we're a group that kind of lingered together throughout the years. And if there's something that is significant for walking as practice, I would say that number one, no one has to do work. Number two, then of course, since you don't have to do work, you don't have to leave anything. We are poorly funded, but with that said, every artist is usually responsible for coming to the get together, the program. At times we also do other things together, and then it's the cohort that makes these. It could be walking projects, exhibitions, etc., or just sharing our knowledges. What we have in kind of as a focus is that what does it mean to be together? What does it mean to move through the landscape? And what does it mean to be entangled? So be constantly entangled and in proximity of each other and our practices. And we try to have practices that differ a lot. So we don't try to assign artists that have similar practices, because we think that that is a nice way of learning from someone who has a little bit of another angle to what we're doing. So this year, in addition to having entanglement and proximity as the focus, we kind of followed an interesting premise, and that is that of Peter Weiss. And we will come back to that. But so we had Peter Weiss, but then we also have Bing Song and others who talk about co-becoming as the root of what we were doing.
Last years we were on one place, which was Björkö, and this was also housing in a residency. And this year is the first time that we did a nomadic program. So we have been on 3 different islands and traveling between them in the last week. So this is like a major change because nobody was having a studio where they could get back to. It was really mostly about being together and having this walking experience together. Yeah, I think as an introduction, that's good.
So, and then we're going to start hearing from, we have here Tricia, DB, and Zoey, but I was so happy to see also that Hey There is present. So we have quite a few who stay in touch and continue to help each other with finding good opportunities and also sharing our practices. So let's see where we end. So what we will have next is...
Oh my God, why?
Yeah, exactly.
What happened?
So anyway, we see you, Tricia, and we were thinking that you should be the first to present your impressions of being on a WAP program and what work that came out of it, and however you would like to approach that.
I did not prepare beyond this video, and so it's gonna be free flow. But
And you were with us last year.
yeah, so to give you some context, I'll bring up the video, but will not, oh my gosh, no, cancel. There we go. So to give you some context, let me maximize so you don't see all my fun YouTube histories of me watching apartment tours. I was with the group last year. Yeah, it was, for me, it was mostly like a restorative time, and it really resonated. Anna, Viola, you said how there's no pressure to create work or to work. And I did, I think, do a lot of work or what I like to call play. But a lot of it, oh, that's I made a tiny zine there, yeah. A lot of the stuff I created was not precious. It was meant to be ephemeral, to be let go of, to carry with you and then get waterlogged and decompose. But that's a lot of my practice in general. And this is like a walkthrough video of a virtual reality space that was a project I did with another group here in Montreal. I'm located in Montreal. That was about objects of care, and this project was already supposed to happen before going on the residency, but while on the residency, it just felt really appropriate to use documentation gathered there as the landscape and environmental space that held this landscape of care. And so I will play it, and then maybe if there's any questions, thoughts after, I can do that. I don't know if we're doing questions, and anyways, I'm just gonna play. Can you hear it? Kind of? Yeah, okay. That one got messed up. Just carry on.
Part of a project called Heartwritten. It was made in collaboration with my partner and it recently survived a very tragic apartment fire. The device acts as a reminder of the care we have for each other and the ideas we bring to life. It's called Heartwritten.
So the landscape we see, it's that material, did I understand correctly?
Documenting, floating, saving, ever changing, wondering.
So the path is water from
Keep the balls together.
last year. Oh,
Imagine 99 of them rolling on them and supporting your back and giving you a feeling of lightness. After you've rolled around a bit, on your sacrum that is with the 9 tennis balls, get up and see how that feels. This is called 99 tennis balls.
yeah. So to give you some context, maybe I'll just put it back here and then I can pause. The background is from the forest, moss and plants. The ground is a pattern that I made while there, a pattern of slugs and snails, and then overlaid on top of grass. And then the shape of the pathway is from, it's a walk that I did, so it's superimposed onto the space, but the texture of it is water from last year as well. And then the sounds, the waves are also from last year. And then the vocals, when you hear people talking, that is the project. I asked people to share stories related to these objects of care or like reflections that speak to them. Yeah, that's the project I was going to share with you guys today. So I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you. It's really nice to see how your walk lingers through another place and then becomes yet another thing. So it's like at least 3-4 sites coming together in your work.
Yeah. It was cool to kind of, and I didn't know I was going to use that footage and that documentation when I was taking it in this way. So that was also interesting. Yeah.
And also, I mean, since it's cafe style, if you have any questions, just throw them forward, please. Great.
Were these objects of care also some of them that we sent you, or is it from after?
No, they weren't from you. No, they weren't from you guys. So I hosted like a few workshops where people brought their physical objects, and then I 3D scanned them. And then, so the objects that you see are like basically digital replicas of the actual object.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any reflections, thoughts, anything you want Tricia to evolve upon? We come back to that. So thank you so much, Tricia. Thank you for sharing. And the same year we have DB, which is WAP25. So if you get ready to start and share screen, and also if you could make sure that the people, like when, everyone is not covering your image.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm DB. Yes, I was WAP25 cohort. So I'm happy to see all of you. So we were last year based in Björkö. And so our experience quite different, I think, from your current one, where we were in one place and kind of made excursions outwards, which was an interesting kind of way to, I don't know, I think that shaped at least my viewpoint of what I was working on or what I was interested in when I was there. But let me share my screen.
Thank you.
Okay, so last year one of the things that I found myself interested in during the period that we were there is that I would take these walks out into the forest and find these areas that were like rock outcroppings that were just covered in lichens and moss. And they sort of exist in the forest as sort of little islands on their own. And so I found that interesting to be like just the island within the islands that we were in, and then traversing through that landscape and looking at it. So I spent a lot of my time just out in the woods, looking at these areas and documenting what I saw, like looking at the lichen. Lichen is just a really beautiful structure, and I found it very inspiring, just as a physical shapes. And then also it's interesting to me too that it's like it's a hybrid organism that's made of a fungus that has algae inside of it that work together to sustain life. So that was just an interesting starting point for me. So I came home and I did a lot of just kind of reflecting on that, playing around with different things, doing a lot of drawings, paintings, sculptures. And at one point I made these like sort of arms that like sculptural arms. They were just sort of like these disembodied arms that I thought I was going to make into some sort of installation. And I got to looking at them one day and I was like, I think I really want to just wear them. So I made this sculpture that's like a harness that I wear. It's quite heavy. It's like 25 kilos or something. And it's just this harness that holds all of these sort of arms with hands at the end of them. And it's like really kind of directly related to the structure that I was observing in the lichens. And I liked like having this concept of being able to have like this sort of being the sort of like walking ecosystem. So I made it with not really any kind of goal in mind. It just had this like, I was just compelled to make it. Anyway, I sort of did some sort of like not really like informal kind of wearing of the costume. This was in actually where my studio is. It's like a big warehouse with a lot of manufacturing in there. And as I was walking through this manufacturing plants and stuff wearing this, I thought it was interesting that the arms and the structure kind of have this sort of relationship to the people in the building that are manufacturing things and working things, and the many hands that it makes to manufacture our goods and what we wear and what we consume. So I had this opportunity this summer. I applied to an open call in China because they were looking for artwork that was sort of the theme of it was like from one to many or something like that. So so I applied. I got into this festival in rural China, in an area called Jingzhen, which is outside of Shanghai. Anyway, so I packed up my sculpture into a couple suitcases and went to China. So I brought it there, and these are the photos. So I performed it in a rice field in China. So I decided, and it was basically me just kind of walking through the rice fields, wearing this. But I decided, since I was a foreigner in a foreign land, that it would be interesting to incorporate unpacking it out of the suitcases and wearing it as part of the performance. So I dragged the suitcase full of the sculpture out into the rice fields, pulled it out as part of the performance, just took it apart and assembled it, and then put it on and walked through the rice fields. And it was interesting. Like rice fields are like they're sort of like man-made wetlands, and so it was interesting to me for the same as in the manufacturing environment, in this agricultural context, that wearing this crazy outfit with all these hands on it. It was in this really tiny little village, and all the villagers came out and helped. The local garbage man came out and helped me get out of the rice field. It's cute. And then we did another performance. We were supposed to perform in this ancient town on a boat in the river, but the town wouldn't let us do it. So then we went to this other little river in the middle of nowhere and just basically kind of performed it in the river for each other. Like we didn't really have much of an audience, but it was just sort of an experimental time. There was like about 15 different artists there doing different stuff. So, but this is me in the river, just doing it in a different context. I started in this one by fishing the arms out of the river, pulling them onto a rock, and then assembling the costume, putting it on, and walking through the river. And part of the performance, just me, it's like just a struggle for me to wear this, especially walking through water in both places, in the rice field and in the river. It was just a challenge. The rice field was full of like 15 inches of mud, so it was like really difficult to walk in. The river had rapids in it, so it was really difficult to traverse also. But I like how it looks different in the two different places. So it was just sort of an interesting opportunity to experiment with that. But
and it's a nice trajectory. I mean, in between the way your sculpture turned out and coming from the little islands and the lichen, and I mean, you can see the lichen within that sculpture also.
Yeah. So it was like a.
Would you mind putting up the very first image a little bit, like the research catalog one?
Anna, Viola, can I encourage you to talk close to the microphone because it's quite difficult to hear when you're sitting back.
So what we did in between 23 and 25 was that like every artist that's sort of instead of doing this, that we're doing now in this space, everyone did a research catalog to kind of remember what was going on while being there. So it's kind of an exposition, as it's called in the format. But then this year we haven't decided whether we will do a research catalog or not, but it's kind of nice to have everything gathered. So that is also possible. And it's a format that was developed for artistic research. So then if we decide to come through a theme, and then we can also publish like academically through research catalog, but then we have to lock it. So now we just share it. So there are different levels of it, but it's been a good tool. And I can see that, I mean, just looking now when you're presenting, I'm realizing that it is a pretty neat thing to have as a journal of being there.
Yeah, it was kind of just like a digital sketchbook for me, really. And I like looking back at it because it's kind of a little snapshot of my time.
I have a question, and I'm going to put a thing in the chat too, DB. I don't know if you know about, there's a group at Ohio State University called the Lichen Likers.
No.
This group, I'll put a link in the chat. They also make lichen costumes, but they're kind of like group costumes. So you have to navigate as a group, and it kind of grabs more and more people. And
Well, I
think
like that.
you should connect with them and look at what they're doing and share your work with them. Maybe they'll find a way to bring you there or something. But I think
That would be
you're
fun.
in the same. You're playing in a very similar zone, and I think you'd enjoy it.
Okay. Cool.
Thank you, Heather. Do I have my mic on? Yeah, I do. So this is a typical example of how we kind of interlinger with each other. All of a sudden, someone sees the work that we would have missed otherwise, and just, so thank you, Heather. Heather, would you mind telling what we did at supermarket?
Sure. I didn't come today thinking about presenting, but I quickly did pull up the web page for web pages I have for both the things I did. So my name is Heather, or I also go by Hey There, Kapplow, and I was at Bjorko in, let's see. Oh, can I find this? Hold on.
23?
Yeah, 23. No, I'm just trying to. I did a project at supermarket last year. So I was with Walking as Practice in 23, and I did. I made 11 walking scores, and one of them turned into a performance art piece at a festival. But last year, I came and presented at supermarket, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get this.
Yeah, and supermarket is an artist-run
Yes.
art fair in Stockholm.
And I was thinking a lot about our ability to be dictated over because of the election in my country at that time. We had just received a new president who seemed to be aiming in a more dictatorial bent than previous ones and has continued to do so. And so I played a game where we walked through a supermarket. Takes place in a shopping mall. That was a kind of combination of a game we have in the U.S. called Simon Says and also Follow the Leader, where we sort of marched through the mall and tried to follow directions that I barked out. But the directions, people had little cards that gave them the right to not follow certain directions or to undermine each other, or they could steal each other's cards. So it was just kind of a like wacky marching through the mall in front of people who were just there to shop, trying to follow the leader and failing, and chaos sort of ensued. And then at the end, I think the last card that people opened said there is no normal anymore. There's sort of a commentary on what we were experiencing in the U.S. at that time. And then I think, if I didn't break it, no, did I close that window? I can show also just a overview of the research channel page from my time in 2023. Hold on. Sharing is a bit. There we go. Somehow it's paused. My screen sharing is paused. I'm not really sure what the technical issue is here, but it seems like I can't share my screen. Stop. Try one more time. Yeah, it doesn't seem to want to let me share this image. I'm not sure why. I can put a link in the chat, but it's to this collection of scores that I made while I was in residence in the first 2023. Sorry to be a little bit disorganized about this, but I wasn't planning on presenting
But
at
I mean,
all. So.
yeah, you were a bonus, and we were telling Andrew earlier that we will also show a little bit of work from Zoey Hart. You can do full screen.
The work of being a snail. The work of being a snail. Of hauling your self-body half a beat behind. Every forward motion, working the mind and the body in syncopation. Reach and pull, stretch and hoist, expand and gather. The snail does not arrive all at once. An approach requires at least 2 beats. Here I am. To proceed, each movement is considered, driven by skin sense, touch, taste, feeling. The snail is always moving towards, unable to backtrack. The only other direction is inward. Inward, retraction, to safety, to self. Retraction as an effort to maintain stasis in an uncertain world. Are snails really so slow, or are they just very heavy within themselves? What would a snail be like in zero gravity? How would it all unfold? What could be possible without the burdens of the body?
Thank you, Andrew. So this is Zoey Hart. She's based in New York City. She's been at Walking Artist Practice once and been in several projects at Björkö. So this year we had, again, the kind of the theme, or what we related to, all of us, was entanglement and proximity. And you also see the other ones. 2025 was walking as passion, embodied thinking. And then 24, it was spaces of anticipation. And then 23, it was attentive walking. So again, for the first 3 years, everyone had a studio, and we met kind of, I wouldn't call it randomly, but someone decided, let's do a walk, and then all of us came with, and that's how we did it this year too. And that's one of the differences, walking with a walking group or walking with artists, is that we're allowed to stop and get off schedule and just indulge in with that which we see. So this year we have Janice, who you already introduced, and the next one is Felice, and we never practiced the last name. Gee,
Hapetzeder.
Hapetzeder. You have to say it yourself later. And then we have Silvina, Sisterna, and also Jurate, Girdvainis. And we also in the beginning had Lilium red wine with us, but there was a medical condition, no, it didn't, emergency on Landsort. So she had to go back and deal with that. So from this, I think we move on into a presentation of what people been doing, and it's not even.
First, a bit context to.
Let's do a context first. You're right.
So, yeah, I thought it would be interesting to talk a bit about where we were and how our walks were and what were the islands that we saw. So, as I already said, we have been walking for 5 days, 6 days, 5 nights. And we spent the first 2 nights on Landsort, which is the most southern island. And then we went up a bit to Nottare. And then we spent 1 night there. And then we had a 7.5 hours ferry ride to get to Finham. And from there, we also use the rowing boats to get to Ingmarsö. And now it's starting from here, which is our last trip. So yeah, we use the app, or I use this app, and Felice also, where you can track your walks. And I haven't done it all the time, but you can see it's a bit precise, which I like. So you can see we don't go straight. Sometimes we walk one part a couple of times. You can also see on the video on the right here, this part where it's double is when we went on the, with the rowing boats, because there were rowing boats which were prepared for us, but there must always be one on each side. So that way we had to carry one rowing boat at the end of the one we were in order to bring one back in the end, if that's understandable. So yeah, we have been on all the islands, and most of us were camping also. So we had a bit of a structure that we went to the island with a ferry, of course, and then depending how far away it was, we had to bring all our backpack and everything to the place where we would be camping. And so we set up our tents. We had 3 tents for people that were camping, and then we mostly spent the day walking around on the island. Sometimes on Landsort, for example, we had some sites that we wanted to see. So we made a bit of a bigger plan to walk on the island, but when we were on Nattarö, for example, we didn't make a plan at all, but it was also nice because we decided to have a barbecue in the evening at the beach. So for that, we also had to find a way to get a nice barbecue spot. We had this experience to make an open fire and sit there all night and have a night walk to go back. And then when we came back, look at the stars. And so it's a lot of stuff that just happens randomly. And everyone is improvising and just sharing their thoughts. And then on the last island, we had this one day where we were on the ferry for this super long time, which was also very nice, because after 4 days walking and carrying and thinking about how to do things, it was good to just sit in the sun. We had good weather all the time, which was amazing. We never had rain. It was always sunny. Only the last day it became a bit cloudy, but the rest of the time it was perfect. So we were on that ferry for a long time, and some people started to think about things, maybe draw a bit, write stuff down, or just sit and relax and look at all the archipelago that we could see from the ferry. And on the last island in Finham, we were doing camping on a very wild spot, what I found. We also had to walk a bit through the forest with our backpacks, and then we were camping super close to the water on the stones. And when we were laying in bed at night in the camp, in the tent, it was very beautiful because you could hear the waves and the birds. And we were also sitting on the rocks in the evening for a long time. And one evening we even had a shelter with a barbecue spot again. So yeah, this was mostly the structure of what we were doing, walking during the day, then towards the evening, caring about food, and in the morning, going back to whatever port there was to get our morning coffee. Yeah, so we only just got back, so it's a bit hard to get everything together, but we have now this project space where we are sitting, and we, every one of us has prepared a little insight in our personal experience. So we will continue with this now.
Yeah.
And the first person, oh, now we can see the videos again.
No, you just have to think.
I know, but we didn't see those
Ah.
videos. Whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, Felice is the first one to talk about his work. Should we just
Hi, so I'm Felice Hapetzeder. I'm a visual artist, and I'm sort of I feel like a little bit of a wild card in this very like experienced group. So I was the one who was not camping. I was staying at youth hostels instead, and I applied to the open call because of I'm always walking, and I'm also interested in the archipelago, but I haven't had so much opportunity to go out to the archipelago, though I'm living in the city since 53 years. So this was a good opportunity to combine my interests of art and walking, I thought. And also Peter Weiss was a big inspiration for one of the inspirations for this WAP26. So that also sort of made me apply for something connected with his work, because I've been following him since I was a teenager. And maybe we will talk a little bit more about Peter Weiss, and maybe have some the reading that we did together, right? Yeah. So that will give more context into that. I just want to say that I'm not presenting a work here because I didn't do like an artwork, but it's more like I was documenting some things. For instance, what we see right now is a kind of a phenomenon, camera obscura phenomenon, but it's not turned upside down. So suddenly in the cabin where we were staying, there was suddenly this phenomenon in the morning of this tree, like a camera obscura, but it's not a camera obscura because it's not turned upside down. So it's like probably some affiliated phenomenon to camera obscura, and I've been filming it and photographing it there, and I was like just taken by it. And then there is like just one small, some other small things that I have documented, of which one is a boat floating in the water outside of Landsort, where there is a boy and a man fishing in a boat, and I thought that was a very like kind of a beautiful but also interesting image. And on the bottom of the image there is the lower half, there is parts of these military structures which were on Landsort. This island has been like a military closed off to the public until 1990s. So it's sort of just recently been open to the public. So that's thank you. Hopefully.
So the premises of this started with a book of Peter Weiss, and the book is from 1947. And those of you who read either Swedish or German can see it in front of you now. And it was made when Peter Weiss came to Sweden. And it's kind of a drifting way that it's written. You don't really know whether he's actually on the islands, or sometimes he's finding a mannequin up in a storage space. So it's really drifting. But it deals with the state of being nomadic, and it deals with the state of being rootless and also being a migrant. So we thought it would be an interesting premises to like return to that while we were walking. And here you will see the very, very beginning of, this is not edited as a art video, but it's a little bit kind of a hint. So it's from island to island, it's on Sandhamn, the island.
Mein Zimmer, das bin immer ich selbst. Es ist mir gleich, wo dieses Zimmer ist, in welcher Stadt, in welchem Land, in welchem Teil der Welt. Die Welt ist überall draußen, das Zimmer überall drin. Al venir de afuera, hace un momento, entré en la habitación, en mí mismo. Mi habitación es siempre yo misma. Me da igual dónde se encuentra esa habitación, en qué ciudad, en qué país, en qué parte del mundo. El mundo está siempre afuera, la habitación siempre adentro.
Ne ricordo una, era lassù, in cima a una torre, forse la torre di un castello. Il sole al tramonto dorava ogni cosa. Le finestre erano aperte.
Posėdūryje, kupinis skandalų, ten grįždavau tik slapčia, tamsoje nepasipirmai pasprūkdavau. Kai kuriuose kambariuose turėjau vos kelias valandas. Prisimenu vieną. Jis buvo pačiame bokšto viršuje, galbūt pilies bokštas. Besileidžianti saulė viską auksino.
Mitt rum. Det är alltid jag själv. Det spelar ingen roll för mig var detta rum finns. I vilken stad, i vilket land, i vilken del av världen. Världen finns överallt, där ute.
So what we did was we made it as we did a reading in one of our kind of native or one of language that is close to us, and we realized we could do it in 5 different. So we were reading the same text, but in the different languages. So we walked the promenade or whatever you call it back and forth, and then kept just shifting, handing over the book, and the next one read the quick translation of the text. No, I think you're next.
Sorry, what should And I should talk about this.
Yeah, you have your work, both the video and also the.
But maybe could be first for. We go one before and then we go one back. Okay. So hello, nice to see you, everyone. Tricia, Debbie, Andrew, and others.
That's the video, by the way, so you can play that.
Okay. But how to play?
Just play spacebar, I think. Spacebar.
Suddenly, the taste of blueberries. Not a memory.
So it's okay. It's very short, but first, what I want to say is like I'm not looking for something. I'm just want to discover from being in a present. I'm in this practice second year for 2 years, like, and this kind of piece for me is like can present how I understand walking, or how I understand the way of thinking or not thinking. And I'm wondering, it is a question or it is a question above or before or after? Still, I think I don't need a lot of words, because words, I think, destroy a lot of things. And yeah, just and I also wanted to read that poetry again.
And again, you mean it?
Yeah, because it was a very small piece, so it's like from beginning. My mind is blank, no thoughts, empty. Water, water, water. I'm floating, floating, floating. What is a thought if a wind carries it away? My face is burning. Sun, wind, harbor, every day. So I go to do nothing. Sunday, a boat I wish I would never stop. What we could keep moving from one island to another. Water, rock, a little house, water. I remember a girl. She told me her dog dances flamenco when she gets food. And again, water, suddenly the taste of blueberries. Not a memory, just the taste. Yeah, and I would like to finish with, for me, the most important thing is like repetition. I not mean like returning back, but more as repeating things and look at things from different distance, from different perspective. Because if we see things all the time and trying to find out, we can find out more when we are searching for something new. So I think it's the way of thinking, and also walking is repetition, and help me to lose minds. Just like I can say. So, okay, thank you.
But you should talk also, Janice wanted you to talk about the video.
Yeah, that one.
So we could say before,
But you can.
before you shift image, Jurate,
Yeah, okay.
then the little, wait, go back. That is for people to understand this image, the pipe or the brown thing, that's a tile pipe, and you place the audio device in it. So you can barely hear it stepping outside. So it's part of what we have in here. Sorry.
And another thing that we are displaying together this year is a video that I have firstly made in 2023 when I was first in Björkö. And this is me with a mask in the forest and on the seaside, and you can see like loop movements that I made. And then I met Jurate last year, and she wrote poetry as well. And then we met again in Berlin, and we combined the sound with the video. And then in the end, we found out this really fits, and it was kind of yeah, for me it was very interesting because I like the poetry anyway, but my video was more something I made for fun, but it was also the first time when I was on Björkö, and the poetry that very nice way, because it's from first time for her and for my first time, so it's one of a sign. And second, for me it's a strange thing when I watching this video, I all the time forget that it's not me, it's Janice, because it's like, I don't know, when I watching this, I think that I am where, so it's like strange. Yeah, so this is super nice collaboration that came from that. And oops. And this is me. So I think everyone that, or most of the people that are there right now do already know my practice. So I do walking while drawing. This device, which is there in the middle of the table, is a drawing machine. It's a, where is it? Is it somewhere there? Yeah. Thank you so much. So it's this thing, and there can be paper rolled here and then down there. And while you walk, you can scroll the paper. So yeah, and I use this to document landscapes. And for me, it's the best if I do it in landscapes which are wide open, and it's kind of easy to walk, because in urban landscapes it's just too dangerous if you're like this all the time and you have to manage so many things. And also I like it more to have these landscape shapes, because yeah. So what we did here now was that we all tested, or I showed this device to the others, and everyone had his go to test it when we were on Landsort. And for me, it was super interesting because everyone had their own way of doing it. And I also designed this machine to show my personal perception of surroundings, and to check later, oh, what were the objects that I have been drawing and why is that so, and whatever. There's also another part where I used them for VR, but this was like my first idea. So I found it super interesting how others look at the world, but also how it is for them to draw while walking and to exchange on that. And this was also super different. And the talks that came from that was much about the experience that I also made for myself. Like, how do you draw perspective and your own speed level, and how can you get rid of this idea to make a perfect picture and stop drawing although you went past things. And yeah, so this was super nice for me to do that together with everyone. And yeah, these are just two drawings that I made on the ship. And yeah, this was cool because the ship is moving in a very nice speed. I find better as if I was on a train or something. And then I can hold the thing horizontal, so I can make different way of drawing, but of course it's not while I'm walking. And another thing is that I was also filming a bit, but this is at the moment just raw material, but I always like to film shadows or my own movement while I'm walking somewhere, and my own shadow, or also a bit like looking at situations and going very close and then far away, and doing this kind of stuff. Yeah, but I was also simply documenting the time that we had and doing some landscape shots. Yeah.
And at times you also convert that into a VR scenario, right?
No, not these. The VR is with the video, with the drawing machine.
Drawings. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the drawing machine is also, yeah, I said it was not so important this time, but a part of it can also be that I make a couple of walks in one set surrounding, and I also do a GPS trace of where I'm walking, so I can have the Google Earth pictures later, and then I scan all my drawing traces, put them in VR, draw them again, and that way I create or recreate the landscape that I was walking through. And yeah, I have done that on Björko as well at one coast part, and one time in Nida in Lithuania. Yeah, and then little works as well. So this is a very concentrated way of using the drawing machine, because I have to say to myself, what will be the features that I'm drawing today? What is the distance, and how can I make different layers in order to create a fully landscape later? Yeah, but it can also just be fun and kind of relaxing, and like a task for yourself to not try to make things too perfect. Yeah.
And it's in, yeah.
Yeah, jetzt ist Silvina.
It's just starting. Here with the video.
No, that's what?
Two videos.
What? Oh, I think I'm missing something.
Hello, nice to meet you, to all of you. My name is Silvina Sisterna. I'm an artist from Argentina, based in Ireland. And in the left side of the screen, you can see a small documentation of the group rowing through the islands. So that is one part, but the left inside, yeah.
Maybe you have to take cursor to point it out.
Ah,
it's super blurry.
yeah, super blurry. Yeah, yeah, that is right. And here is, you will see just fragments of the experience being in the archipelago for over mostly 6 days, you know. And I'm interested in the invisible connections that happens between in nature. And my experience in walking, being in nature, but previously as a kind of thing I like to do. But nowadays it's becoming more and more present in my practice. I'm working in urban spaces in Ireland, in Dublin, in the capital, with a community of women from Latin America. And having this different experience working with other artists in a different landscape brought me new ideas and to think more about these invisible connections that happens in nature, but also between the people that gather together. So this is only just a starting point to keep thinking, because I need time to think ideas and continue developing them into something more meaningful, probably, hopefully, yeah. So, and part of my practice is also photography, but I'm interested in the materiality of the photography. So cyanotype became part of it, but and also I took picture with the analog cameras that I need time to develop as my ideas. So this is only, you know, a snapshot of a moment at that current moment after being a few days. It's my very first time in Sweden, so I'm so very grateful to have this experience and working with this group, the wonderful artists. So that is me. So if you want to say anything, thank you.
Thank you. I think this was the end of our presentation. And yeah, it's more now that if you have any thoughts or questions for us, then we are happy to answer them.
Yeah, and Andrew, this way you set this up is a cafe, so that's why we can, I mean, we've been back for like 1 day. So we haven't really processed what we've been doing ourselves. And most of us are so tired, so we barely know our own name. But we never done such an intense walking as practice before. Normally it's been, you know, maybe people came for 2 weeks or a full month or even longer at times. But to put everything into actually 6 days and 5 nights, and then we had a gathering the first night also. That is something, it's so compact, so it's hard to comprehend, because, I mean, simultaneously, while thinking of what you could use in your own practice, you listen to what other artists are sharing, and at the same time, you have to, you know, where is the boat, where are we putting, what are we eating, what are we doing? So it's a lot of effort being put into being in the nomadic state. And I think several of us, like you mentioned, Felice, will revisit also Girdvainis and kind of funnel our work through that. But it should also be like the recap is also that we are not locked into Girdvainis at all, because several of us come from other theoretical backgrounds like Bing Song and co-becoming, or Paula Baqueta and with co-motion. So we really put it at stake here, and I think Andrew might have some questions for us.
Yeah, there's Greg Homan has raised his hand, so Greg may want to ask a question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Perfect.
We can, yeah.
So about the writing machine, can you place maybe a link to that in the chat so I can look at it closer later? I have a reason. I think Andrew might have heard this before. My wife has not left the house in 4 years. She's afraid of the outside, and she is a writer and has some drawing capability. So I'm always looking for ways to try and get her out of the house. And that device might be a way.
Sure.
It looked really cool. Thank you.
Definitely.
Also, I'm familiar with the paid advice text, so that was something I can look up. So thank you.
There is a link currently, and you can see Jenny's drawing machine on it's Walking as Practice / press 26. And there is also Zoey's work. And I can post a link to the few passages we've been reading on our website also. So I'll do that as.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the website is the best way, actually. I don't know if it's in the chat already.
Yeah, I'll try to go to the website. I'm not too tech savvy, so like even tracking a chat is beyond my capabilities, but I'll find a way. Thank you.
Well, what I was going to say is if Janice is happy for me to share her contact details with you, Greg, I can forward her contact details. Are you happy with that, Janice?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
Okay. So I'll do that. The other thing I was going to ask, may I ask a question of DB? I was interested in DB in the costume that you created. When you were talking about it, did you plan that it would be used in a performance, or I got the impression that you actually just made the costume more as a kind of sculpture that you would wear rather than it be used in a performance, or and then you adapted it for the performance that you did in China. Am I right, or was it always an intention that you would be performing in it?
No, it was always the intention that I would be performing in it. I just wasn't 100% sure when I made it where or how that was going to manifest. So, and then once I made it, I was able to, I don't know, it starts making, for me, the art process sometimes is the idea and the making of it sort of come together simultaneously.
No, I thought it was a fascinating thing to create, and then also a really lovely idea that you would try, walking through a rice paddy. I thought, wow, that's interesting, and also almost the image that you have where some of the villagers are looking at you. It's kind of interesting to see what kind of reaction
They're really into it.
created. Yeah, you created, and also whether it was a festival of performance anyway. So
yes.
Did you discover that others had created their similarly exotic costume?
There was a couple of people that had some kind of wear like things that they wore. There was one group, there was a group of young Chinese artists, and they had like a funny name, something like young college revolutionaries or something like that. I don't know what they were, but they were like a group of students, but they had this kind of crazy outfit that they all got inside of and got in. It was interesting. There was a kind of a wide variety of people doing different things, but
No,
it was cool.
But it was really nice that sort of development of your costume came from discovering these lichen islands on Bioko. So I thought very intriguing. I loved it. I thought it was a really lovely way of thinking through staying in that area that you were in.
Thank you.
That's good. And also, I want to, if I may, I'd like to ask Junita about her poetry, because when I was in Bioko last year, you also performed a poem as well, and what I liked was the simplicity of the poem, but also the pace, and I thought that was something rather special that you read just now, and it was a lot to do with the pace of the poem as well as what you'd actually written. It was the way you performed the poem. So it was really lovely. Sorry, Greg, you've got your hand up again.
Well, a segue from mentioning poetry is a good way of saying something before what I'm asking. So to the artists there, were there any other texts which informed, although one of the artists, as a writer, I was a little horrified by her disdain or with words, disdain for words. But I understand how that comes about. Anyway, any other texts other than the Vice, in particular, since you're surrounded by water, I always think of Bachelard. Any people are fans of Bachelard's work?
It's a very strange thing, I think so. Very paradox about writing, because I hate words and talking too much. So it's like what's happening here, writing poetries and talking. It's a very strange way for me, but also it's not like a real story. It's like just a fragments, and with a lot of space left to feel what you want to feel. Or also it's like, for me, it's this time, last time it was like just a long poetry more and words, and this time I really like how I created visualization, and for me it's more than words, but it's like every words is like working together, but every squares can be like 1 day, 2nd day, 3rd day, 4th and 5th day on our walking, but also it can be like boat, water, like rock, or it can be I don't know, steps. It's how I understand what it's like. For me, strange way in general, just to talk.
Yeah, I didn't mean to call you out on that. More the emphasis is on whether any of you are.
Yeah, we had one other text coming up, Greg, and I will hand over the chair here to Silvina, and she'll read it to you, to all of us.
Hey again. Okay, this is a poem written by a Spanish writer called Antonio Machado, and it's called Walker. Walker, your footprints are the only road, nothing else. Walker, there is no road. You make your own path as you walk. As you walk, you make your own road, and when you look back, you see the path you will never travel again. Walker, there is no road, only a ship's wake on the sea. So I feel like this was very entangled with our experience, because we were in ferries and we could see the wakes ship all the time, and also the fact that we were walking. No? So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to ask a question.
Sure, please.
When I was reading a bit of a program for this event, there was a suggestion, I believe, that each artist would lead one leg of the walk, introducing others to their practice. And from your presentations, I gather that everybody got the chance to try out Janice's drawing machine. But were there other examples where you were trying out each other's practices, and what's that?
Sure. So to respond, this is really weird whether I should look here or at you, but I think I prefer to look at you now.
Anna, can you tell us, who the gentleman was, or can he introduce himself?
Random passerby.
Okay, random passerby. All right.
Yeah, we did the round in the beginning. It's an artist living in Stockholm.
Okay.
We're all artists here in one way or another.
Incognito, random passerby. Good.
No. Self-descriptive identification. So to answer your question, like, what does it mean also to lead a walk? Sometimes you have a certain format that you would like to try, a score. In one way, one can say that your practice is almost like a score, because you hand it over and you see what happens with that specific person with the drawing machine. What I always do in the beginning of a walk, I will start a little bit earlier. Hang on. So we took off from Stockholm and we're taking the commuter train south to go to the first ferry. We didn't even get out of the metro length or the metro distance until the commuter train was shut down. So the first half day we missed out on at the Landsort. So we arrived there and then we were just like, okay, where should we put our tent? Do we have a site for that? So we turned into being pragmatic about the whole thing. So the second day we gathered up by the tent site and we did a walk together. And what I always do in the beginning of walks is that I ask of the group to kind of attune to the various perceptions we have. And usually most of us are in one way or another visual artists. So the visual impact is always so vivid and it's present. So I usually do a silent walk in the beginning and ask people to, at different distances, look for sounds just to bring in also the audio part in being present. So a lot has to do with how do we leave our normal way of thinking? How do we leave the city behind and come to that co-becoming with the sites we pass through and also with each other. And then after doing that, we do a little share session, like what happened, what did you notice? And that's kind of the beginning of how we form a group. And after that, we did have various people from the group who were leading. It could be a very like, how do we get from here to there? Very pragmatic. Or it could be, I would like to, explore the goats, and it becomes almost like the goat walk, right? So different people all the time rotate. So it's not like, Janice and I, we organized everything, but from the time we come together, it's very organic and fluid. And that is one of the things that we would like to preserve, actually. But there is an opportunity for everyone to do a walk and lead a walk, or just lead like part of the trail that we're going, or if we're going off trail, or, so we become like one body, and it's a very special experience. Did I answer somewhat?
I guess so.
I guess so. Okay.
No, I'm wondering, like, if there was a part where, like, as an example of Janice, like that. Okay, normally I do this. Now you all get to try doing this.
Yeah.
Like, if there were like more direct exchange of trying out each other's practices rather than just sort of being.
But that's also part of her practice. And then, in our informal conversation, that's also a very nice point of exchanging. We had Jurate, her text, we all read that text. And we took turn leading the Peter Weiss walk at Sandhamn on this promenade. So it is taking turns. So it's not that, hence we are curators, we're not leading the thing. So we're kind of moving and we have a sense of direction. And then it's all about how do we obtain as much presence as possible. Because I think that is one thing that we are challenged with in contemporary society. And that is how we have all this, whatever we are scrolling or watching, everything is built on speed, and everything should be rapid. But as the music text once said, how rapid is rapid, how fast is fast. So we like to slow down a bit and try to be with each other and nature.
I think what is also it's just also not every participant is walking artists in a way that they would prepare public walk where everyone can join, and this kind of way. It's also, if walking is important in order to pursue what you are doing, you are also walking artists in this way, because it's it's important enough, or you can't do your art without it, and it must not be that you put that so much in the center of how you show it. So you must, yeah. So that's what I meant. It must not be like I had this machine, it's good access, but not everyone has working in this kind of public walking art field. And yeah.
I thought it was fascinating, really interesting, and I think the other thing is, you know, we shouldn't be expecting anyone to create incredible work in just 4 days of walking. I mean, you know, I think but as, for example, DB or Tricia, 5-6 days, DB or Tricia has shown is that it's what you know, runs through the mind later, and then what comes through from it, and the experience, the shared experience of the walking together, and maybe there are times when you walk alone, and also the fact that you're not tied to a sort of strict workshop. You know, it's actually really good to have opportunity to let your mind run free. You know, so yeah, and it's really interesting. So a big thank you to everyone.